welcome. I'm Mike Writer, and we'll be talking about Static Online with well, the another task force operation target food guide. And this took me quite a while to get through because under Cat's Tail, here it is. So why am I talking about Cat's Tail? Cat's Tail is the latest TFO, which is basically for Halloween event, and it's been going for just over a week. Unlike many other TFOs that could be completed with, quote, herd DPS, you need to be aware of things happening to you middle of the match. Traditionally, most TFOs were built like MMO raids. They featured more puzzles, party coordination, and skill checks, and it covered both ground and space combat. But nowadays, it's more towards the herd DPS side of things, and most of the puzzles and puzzle has gone out the window, and party coordination has been got passed by her DPS. So, Cat's Tail. Cat's Tail has multiple parts, and you'll be randomly picked to do a certain task solo to let you progress. Unlike other TFOs, this test plays more than how they can create or copy a build. And this is one few that does not solely rely on DPS. Like remain Klingon, you need to react upon statuses being thrust upon you. I've deliberately called these named the sections because this TFO's got 3 distinct sections. I've just had to give them names just to describe that section. Part 1, skeletons. Part 2, witches. Witches is somewhat unique. It has 5 unique subsections, which I'm going to call wine cellar, spiders, potions, library, and skull. When you play them, you'll quickly understand why they are all called why I've called those names. And then finally, the Devidian Lord. So let's move on to section 1, the skeletons. Skeletons can only be damaged once the standing radius of a lit candle. And it's generally recommended that you light as many candles as you can find. However, there are areas where the light cannot reach. There are multiple means to move the skeletons to where you want them to be. They basically are aggro or your threat level, and any skill that moves throws. Aggro or threat is basically a hidden stat that all players and NPCs have, and there are skills and buffs that can increase or decrease this stat. Its primary purpose is to control where nearby NPCs choose to attack. When NPCs in this time is usually enemy NPC. However, it does work the other way around for when you have AI computer-controlled allies as well. So, most attacks and many skills will increase your threat. However, this is tricky to manage with multiple players who maybe have the same idea, but stand in different places to you. However, you don't have to rely purely on aggro or your threat skill. So I've found a list of skills that move your enemies. These will be able to move on demand. The following ones have basically decent control, and I've deliberately picked them up. Pick these because of the relatively low cost and their limitations. Now, from the Discovery reputation is the Gravity Containment Unit. I wish I've got all this an image of this one, but it pulls everything towards you. On the player that has it, so you can get every enemy onto the next to a candle pretty easily. Now, Paradox Bomb will pull everything onto the target you attack, all the enemies around you towards the primary target, which means you've got to time it to this one, to time it on the skeletons to make it work. Melee weapons and many major weapons third power, which is commonly known as mouth butt or palm strike, and its most weapons will push enemies away from the player, so you can bash them towards a candle if you a lit candle if you wish. And now we're going on to more expensive ones. Harmonic repulsor wave from the lockbox gives a cone AoE push away from the player, so pretty okay. And another limited event, which is less than a year old, is Malor's Flaming Sword, which is best described as "get over here." Kind of that good advice from Mortal Kombat. Which I got to say is it's basically a ranged. It's a tether and pull. So you pull one enemy closer to you, but it does work because you can just pick and choose your enemies, and you can have it do very quickly. So very nice to use. The Skeleton Lord. Just like liquor skeletons, but with a lot more HP. However, he has a skill that will blow out all the candles in that room. You'll need to relight them again before you get overwhelmed, because you've got not that much damage. The witches, for section 2. Now, the witches have 5 sections. The first, the wine cellar, and the last, skull, are done up by all players. The game will split players and place them into the spider, potion, and library rooms. 2 players each for the spider and library, and a solo player for potions. After completing spider, potion, or library sections, players will be able to meet up and then enter the skull room. Now let's cover each room in a bit more detail. The wine cellar and the spiders both have no real mechanic outside of the damage output of the players in question. The wine cellar will contain a number of witches which will fly around. Once they're defeated, your team will be transported to several areas. The spiders are way more numerous and is best taken down with AoE powers. The large boss spider is tricky to take down, but should not be a major issue for if you've got your build set up correctly. Or at least you or your partner who's come with you.
Dinner is served. Feast for my children. Without fail, my little one.
The potion and the library. The potion room you'll find some angry spirits. You'll have to defeat those before you can actually move on to the puzzle of the room, which is basically you'll need to create a potion by finding the items on the shelves and dropping them into the cauldron. You do just need to listen out for the voice to tell you what you need to get and look and read the item description before you pick it up. In the library, you'll be find books and then try and put them in the right place. You'll be also under attack by some witches as you do this, so you'll be with a second player, so one player can be holding off the witches while the other one sorts the books.
At last, to release me. Fetch the Eye of Newt. You have something. Now deposit it in the cauldron.
Go find here today, gone tomorrow. Did you know that there are over 30 Gorn puns? And that's just in galactic standard. Go find bankruptcy, audits, and takeovers. This one is truly scary to the Ferengi.
The skull section, the skull is the final section of the witches, which is really to bring down the room. I'm naming it skull because of the main mechanic of that room. In that room, a player will be chosen at random to turn into a black cat for some time. The black cat stage will prevent you from attacking, and also anyone in the radius of the black cat player will be disabled. So move away from other players if you're the black cat, and stay away from the black cat if you are not the black cat player and you notice that black cat near you. You'll also need to hit the skull to make the witches vulnerable to attack if you want to get moving, if you want to get through this quick. And then that'll be the end of that. The third section, the Devidian Lord. The Devidian Lord is the final boss of this TFL. Smaller Devidians will swarm you occasionally, and the Devidian Lord will become immune to all damage at set points. However, one player will, at random, will be chosen to be phased, and you'll be able to find one of 3 hidden levers that's only seen when that player is phased. This by pulling those levers, the Devidian will become susceptible to damage again. Now, tips for fighting Devidian Lords: keep control of the small Devidians. That way, more players and pets whenever you have them out, which basically means anything that's not is computer controlled, which just attacks, will attack the Devidian Lord when it's time to do damage on it. Once the Devidian Lord is immune, don't focus on the Devidian Lord, and check if you're phased. If you're phased, move those levers. Otherwise, everyone's going to be waiting for someone else to get phased, so they can move the lever and then move on to the damage phase. The trial pattern enhancer from the episode What Knights Believe can be used to force a player to be phased at any time. However, this is only active for 3 minutes and it's a 10-minute recharge, so you can only do this once or possibly twice in the middle of this TFO, because of how quick you need to do it. But that does help you out if you've got a player who constantly getting forced to be gets phased and does not move. Well, that is roughly it with the tips for taking out the Devidian Lord. But there is one final thing. Finally, turn off your music and listen to the dialogue. The game will tell you what you need to do if you're willing to listen.